What if choosing joy itself becomes a powerful act of resistance? Hello, my dear students. Today we are going to learn Chapter 7 Nurturing Black Disabled Joy by Keah Brown. This essay talks about how a black disabled woman chooses joy despite challenges. It shows us that joy is not just a feeling but also strength and freedom. Students, now let me introduce you to the characters. The first character is the author Keah Brown. The author, a black woman with cerebral palsy who celebrates joy and self-love. The second characters are readers and society, people who sometimes misunderstand or resist her message. The third character is disabled community, a diverse group often misinterpreted in media. The last characters are people of color, especially black women, often ignored or underrepresented voices. Students, now let's begin with the first part of the lesson, that is joy as a revolutionary act. The author says that earlier she didn't always feel joy or hope. Society often believes disabled people cannot be happy. But now her joy through success, books, and love is something powerful and revolutionary. Students, it is like a person in a wheelchair smiling confidently and achieving success even when others think they cannot. Now let's move on to the second part, that is reaction to her book. When her book was published, many people loved it, but some reacted negatively. They felt uncomfortable because the story didn't focus on them and challenge traditional ideas. For an example, when someone shares a story about their own identity and others feel uncomfortable because it is different from their experience. Now let's move on to the third part, that is lack of presentation. The author Keah Brown says that most people imagine disabled individuals as white men, which is not reality. People like her are ignored in media, but she exists and deserves to be seen. For an example, movies showing only one type of person while ignoring others who are equally important. Now let's move on to the fourth part, that is disabled and cute movement. She created the hashtags #disabled and cute to celebrate herself and others. It went viral and helped many people share their stories even though some criticize it. For an example, social media trends where people share their real selves and inspire others. Now let's move on to the fifth part, that is living unapologetically. She now lives confidently without saying sorry for who she is. She speaks against injustice and accepts the space she occupies in the world. For an example, a person confidently speaking in public without feeling ashamed of their identity. Now let's move on to the next part, that is not every day is joyful. She accepts that some days are hard. It's okay to not feel happy every day, but small moments of joy always exist. For an example, having a bad day but still enjoying a small thing like watching a favorite movie. Now let's move on to the next part, that is self-care and healing. On painful days, she takes care of herself by resting, reading, or watching movies. Self-care is important for mental and physical well-being. For an example, taking a break when tired instead of forcing yourself to work. Now let's move on to the next part, that is finding hope. Earlier, she was negative and unhappy, but she changed by training her mind to think positively and appreciate herself. For an example, instead of saying, "I am not good," saying, "I am improving and I am proud of myself." Now let's move on to the next part, that is joy as freedom. She now sees joy as freedom. Her life journey shows growth and she wants the world to know she chose happiness and self-love. For an example, living life based on your own choices, not others' expectation. Now let's move on to the last part, that is conclusion. This essay teaches us that joy is powerful, especially when society tries to deny it. Keah Brown shows that self-love and acceptance can change our life. Students, now let's see what is the moral. Choosing joy and love yourself is the greatest act of strength. Students, if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more amazing lessons. See you in the next class. Until then, bye.